Hi there. Hmm. So today's video is about conclusions, and I'm noticing this everywhere now that I've been learning this a lot lately, and how as humans we just conclude and make decisions about everything. So this is the example that I was looking at today, which is so amazing, is like let's say like you're in a business and you hire a bookkeeper, right? It's like going through that process of getting to know them and like seeing if they're going to work with you. You're questioning them and you're questioning how they are, and you're always in this form of question so you can get a feel of if they're going to work for you or whatever. And then you come to this conclusion, right? Like, okay, now I can trust them, or no, they don't work for me, and you choose based off that conclusion or whatever. Or sorry, you get an awareness because you were questioning so much, and then you keep getting these little awarenesses of like, oh, okay, they're good at that, or like, no, they're not that good at that, or I can trust them. Okay, awesome. And then from those awarenesses, then you make a conclusion. It's like, okay, because I've asked all those questions there and they were like this then okay, I'm going to conclude that they're like that. And you kind of just like leave it alone and you go on and do whatever else. And it's this idea that we think that making a conclusion is easier because you don't have to deal with it. And then, and then when you make that conclusion, that's how it'll just be. But everything is always changing. Everything's even changing so much more fast than it ever has been, and it just exponentially keeps changing even faster and faster. And it's like, if everything around us is always changing that quick, what makes you think that like people aren't changing that quick also? Like, I don't know about you, but like I'm so different than who I was like a year ago, and same with the year before that. I was so different, and everyone's like that, and they try to just like conclude themselves and hold on to things and hold on to identities and hold on to relationships or whatever. And that's why I find like it makes sense then why like the start of dating someone or getting to know someone or getting to know a city is so exciting and new and different, because you're always questioning everything and you're always just like pulling in information and getting awarenesses on stuff. But then once you make conclusions about stuff gets boring. You just sit around like, oh no, I already know, I already made a conclusion about that, just fuck it. And it's like, what if you can always check in with everything as if it's brand new and check in on how it's changed? It's like the people who are excellent with stocks or in investing money, they always are checking in with it because they know it changes. And there's proof that it changes through like the graphs and the numbers and everything. But what if we're like that as people too? And what if cities are like that, right? Like restaurants, people go to restaurants and then they're all of a sudden like, no, like I ate there, it sucks, man, don't go there. There's so many reasons that it could have just sucked that one night, and it just brings this amazing enthusiasm and curiosity of living back, because what if every moment could be like this? What if every day could be like this? What if who you were a month ago to today is actually so different, but it's the conclusions that you're holding on to that you think are real, which is actually what like puts people in this pain or in this bodies that get disease and all this stuff, because the body renews itself. Every single cell, science has proven, renews itself within 7 years. So what makes you think that your points of view and perceptions should always be changing with all that, right? So it's like, what is this idea that we seem to have bought in as a society, as a species, I guess, that we hold on to our thoughts about certain things or our beliefs or whatever you want to call them, but then everything else in existence is always changing and always growing and always expanding. So it's like no wonder, we feel like shit, or there's so many like sad, upset people all the time. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of like spitting out thoughts as it's coming to me, but it feels light to me as I'm saying some of this stuff. So part of it, I guess, is true, and it's like, what would it take to change that? What if it's the opposite of what it appears to be here? Where instead of concluding being the thing that actually works for us, it's the opposite. It's always being in question, always being curious, always wondering. Like, even with someone who you think you know well, what if you could um, take that relationship with someone that you know well and create it new every day, as if you don't know, like as if it's not as like solid as you think it is, because then that's where it gets like boring with people, I guess. Like if they've been dating for a while, it's like just this idea that you've identified them as, and then it sucks because it locks you both in place, because then since you have that point of view of them, they have to show up that way to validate your point of view. And if they have judgments of you or conclusions of how you are, then it's like you can't see their brilliance, or they can't see your brilliance of who you really are, because you have all these conclusions and judgments of, of what they are based off like past things. But it's like if there is no past, and if all there is right now, then that past moment that was in the now when it actually happened, it's like it just was what it was. You can't, even the conclusions you base off of that, it's all just an interpretation. So it's like in that moment, that conclusion worked for maybe that 10 seconds, but it's like, are you still holding on to that? Because it's probably way different now. Um, yeah, and I've just noticed this with money, especially because money is an energy, and if it's always in a constant state of change and expansion and flow, people love to hold on to their money and hoard it or save it or whatever, and that energy just seems so heavy around that idea that you need to hold on to it. It's like, what if the energy of money loves to be in flow, and it loves to come in and then be spent, and to gift your body the value that it wants? Like, if our body is the only thing that we spend our money on, right? Like food, clothes, nurturing our body, spas, retreats, resorts, planes. It's all for our body, really, if you think about it. Even when you buy other people things, it's like for their body. It's not really for like them, their being or whatever. And so it's like there's times where it's like if you just save, but you're not living a life for your body that may be as nurturing or as amazing as it could be, like, is that really honoring you and your body? Like, what if what's actually more contributive to your life, or more of a contribution to your life, is to, let's say, like, spend $2,000 on some retreat or some spa trip to Mexico or wherever the hell it is, instead of just like being like, no, I need to keep that in the bank for a rainy day. I'm just going to hold on to that. But it's like, what if by spending that money, it allows a space for more money to come in, and it allows a week, let's say if you chose a week on a retreat, it allows your body to get so nurtured so that during that week, it opens up a space for more to come into your life. And after that week, you're more expansive and you're more joyful as a person, and your body's at more ease, so you can make better choices and choose even more for your life. So I just spit out a lot of random information that just came to my mind as I kept talking. So I don't know, some of this you might be like, what the hell are you talking about? Some of this you might be like, oh my god, that was pretty sweet. So I don't know, whatever it is for you, cool. I just like talking and I like spitting out my ideas. So thanks for listening, and I will talk to you tomorrow. All right, bye guys.